Today, the Supreme Court did something West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee was clearly not prepared for. It didn't just hear the Enforcement Directorate, it pulled the West Bengal government up sharply and in doing so, shoved the Chief Minister firmly onto the back foot. Until now, Mamata Banerjee has been aggressively on the offensive. Days after her dramatic dash to the ED raid site in Kolkata, emerging with a file in her hand, she framed the ED action as political vendetta, turned it into street theatre in VIP Delhi, unleashed her MPs in protest, and projected herself as the aggrieved victim of a weaponized state. But the Supreme Court's words today poured cold water on that drama. The bench said it was disturbed by what unfolded in court. It questioned whether the rule of law was being subverted. It took serious note of allegations that investigative proceedings were obstructed. It put on hold FIRs filed by the Bengal police against the ED officers, and it made clear that turning legal proceedings into chaos cannot be brushed aside as just politics. That matters because it flips the script. Mamata's rivals now have an opening to argue that lawlessness in Bengal is not incidental but top-down, driven by the Chief Minister herself. They point to the ED's allegation that Mamata stormed the raid site, interfered with proceedings, and even removed files. That's her with a file in her hand. With the Supreme Court willing to examine these claims seriously today, that argument suddenly has judicial air under its wings. Does this damage Mamata politically before the election? Probably not, in my view. The India alliance, remember, of which Mamata is a part, has shown remarkable flexibility in its relationship with the judiciary. It applauds the courts when rulings suit them and attacks them when they don't. That agility, make no mistake, will be deployed again. But here's the bigger shift. The Enforcement Directorate, long seen as a political battering ram, a washing machine, now has something invaluable. Not a verdict, but validation that its claim of obstruction is worth judicial scrutiny. Now, for the BJP, that is narrative gold, because the BJP so far has been only accused of weaponizing the ED. Now, as the ED plans its next steps in Mamata's electoral epicenter, just weeks before the biggest election of her career, the Supreme Court has raised the temperature dramatically. It has turned a political slugfest into a legal pressure cooker. Mamata thrives on confrontation. After today, expect maximum aggression, even more than you've already seen. But this time, the heat is coming from the top court of the land.
Whenever in a non-BJP state, central agency will interfere with the political party just before election, that is also not good. Correct? Similarly, if the central agency works and the state agency interferes, that is also not good. So maintaining this cooperative federalism is not the duty only of the state, it is also duty of the central government.
जंगल राज बिल्कुल ममता राज जैसा होता है। ये कानूनी जोर का तमाचा है उस मुख्यमंत्री को जो समझती है वो संविधान से ऊपर है। ये जो फाइल पकड़कर ममता बनर्जी खड़ी हैं, ये पूरा देश और पश्चिम बंगाल की जनता आज कह रही है, तुम इतना जो छुपा रही हो ममता बनर्जी, तुम इतना जो छुपा रही हो, क्या डर है जिसे दबा रही हो? ये क्या डर है कि ये फाइल अगर ईडी के हाथ लग जाती तो आपको चिंता हो जाती?
Joining me now, Tuhin Sinha, spokesperson of the BJP, Advocate Tausif Khan is a political analyst, Jayanta Ghoshal, senior journalist with NDTV. Thanks very much to all of you for joining me. Tausif, coming to you first. Isn't this a setback to Mamata Banerjee? You've seen the scathing comments from not a sessions court, not a high court, but the Supreme Court. They've put the ball in Mamata's court. They've basically provided validation to the Enforcement Directorate's claim that that obstruction of justice is taking place, and at the very least, they've taken it up and said, "You had better answer."
No, there's a direction to file counter affidavit, yes. But there is a scathing comment by the Supreme Court today in the more than 2 hours long hearing that the central agencies have no right to interfere in the elections and in the take away the political documents of any political party. That comment is also there of the Supreme Court.
Serious concern over rule of law, Tausif.
Can we
Words of the Supreme Court. Serious concern over rule of law.
Yes, yes, the Supreme Court has said that it's a serious matter, and therefore notice is issued. But the judgment has not come yet. Supreme Court also took note of the fact
Offenders
that
cannot
the
be
ED
protected.
under the law. ED is required under the law to inform the state police before conducting a raid. But in this case, they have sent an email to the state police 6 hours after starting the raid.
No, I will summarize in a moment.
Well.
I will summarize in a moment what the actions taken by the Supreme Court. But they have said, can agencies be obstructed by party activities? We'll have to intervene if there is such lawlessness. Deeply disturbed by ruckus at Calcutta High Court on January the 9th. You know, these are very scathing comments.
That is true.
These are not complicated comments, Tausif. They are directly at Mamata Banerjee and a government. Serious lawlessness if we don't intervene.
So, see, the ruckus and the Calcutta High Court on January 9th is what Supreme Court took cognizance of.
Yeah.
And the petitions were admitted today, in spite of the fact that the next hearing, which was conducted on 13th of January, went peacefully. But in the wisdom of the court decided that it will hear the petitions and has issued the notice. Very well. The Supreme Court will hear the matter. The counter affidavit is yet to be filed. 2 weeks is given to the West Bengal Police and the Trinamool Supremo to file their reply. And the matter will come up in the first week of February.
Okay. So, Tuhin Tausif says this is not an order. These are observations. Let's wait for the order. Notices have been issued, but why jump the gun? Says Tausif. Respond.
Well, good evening, Shiv. Good evening, everybody. You know, the TMC can be amazingly thick-skinned. Now, there are three important takeaways from today's decision. Number one, the state government's FIR against ED stayed till the next hearing. It's a scathing indictment of the anti-constitutional methods of the state government, but obviously the TMC does not think so. Number two, you know, the Supreme Court has basically, you know, likened Mamata Banerjee's behavior, the behavior of TMC government, to mobocracy. You know, so the High Court was not supposed to be the jantar mantar where you get protesters of your party to intimidate the judiciary. Number two and number three, you know, there are serious questions which have been raised over Mamata Banerjee's methods. A state government's rule is to support investigative agencies, not, you know, indulge in violent obstructionism. So even after this, if TMC, you know, pretends to shrug off the indictment, I think TMC is a fundamentally a danger to the federal structure of the country.
Okay.
And mind you, after Mamata Banerjee's violent obstructionism last Thursday, if you have followed what has been happening in Bengal, whether it is intimidation of an NCW female member who was trying to bring out the truth in the Uttarpara case, or whether it is the suicide of a BLO officer, which was actually, you know, which was actually the result of a TMC leader having taken away 20 lakhs and not returning it to him. All of these things point.
No, let me get Tausif to answer. Tausif, you know, the BJP, apart from all of this, Tausif, the BJP will say it's not even us saying this about the ED. The Supreme Court has validated their investigation, not going into the the subject matter of the investigation itself, but they've basically said, who is the government to interfere in an investigation like this? It demonstrates complete lawlessness. The BJP will say, hum nahi bol rahe, Supreme Court bol raha hai.
No, BJP will level allegation, and the allegation is that state of government or the state of West Bengal or the government of West Bengal has interfered with the investigation of ED. But the point taken, which was very very patiently noted by the Supreme Court, is that Mamata Banerjee was present there as a party supremo, as the chairman of the Trinamool Congress, and she, being a Z category protectee, the police officials were also present. They had to be there to that's according to the protocol.
Okay.
And what did Mamata Banerjee do? She collected the confidential party data and showed it to the media that I've collected these documents. And ED has no business to collect the confidential party documents, which is going to help Trinamool win the election and hand it over to deprive them of them. So that
20-second rebut,
BJP.
then I want to end with Jayantada. Tuhin, 20 seconds.
You know, on the one hand, TMC keeps asking where was the case, why did the ED, there was no case against I-PAC. On the other hand, Mamata Banerjee, if there was no case, why is Mamata Banerjee so worried?
Okay.
Why did she have to run there, and pick out certain documents, which, by the way, date back into 2022, which are no way linked to the present preparation of a, party's election campaign.
We'll have to see how the TMC and Mamata respond to this. Okay, Jayantada, last word to you. I have 60 seconds left. Jayantada, how does this play out politically for Mamata? Is it a setback for her? What happened in Supreme Court today?
Today, Supreme Court, whatever Supreme Court has said, the order, it is not. It's a not good response from the TMC. It's a setback. No doubt of it, because this judgment is not it's not in favor of TMC.
Yeah.
But the judicial aspect and the political aspect are two different issues before election.
Yes.
Now, when BJP doesn't have the organizational strength in Bengal, but this Supreme Court judgment has energized the BJP workers, and it is giving impetus to build up the case against Mamata Banerjee. But now Mamata is also very, her image, street politician, street smart, and she is trying to say that what they are doing just before election, she is trying to make a victim status, and now it is up to the people. Because in the BJP days also I have seen that when Congress regime was there are several verdicts went against the top leadership of BJP today. But later I found that judiciary backtracked, and the BJP leaders, they got the victory. So, the judicial process is also one aspect. Today is not the good day for TMC. But TMC,
I'm glad you said this, Jayantada, because that's very important for us to understand what happens next. The next move from the TMC and Mamata Banerjee will be very important. But I'm glad you reminded us all that the judicial aspect and the political aspect are oftentimes two very separate things. I'm going to end it there because I'm out of time. But the three of us are going to be on many more debates this season with this big election coming up. So I thank you for your time tonight here on India Matters. It's a wrap on the show. Thank you very much. I'll see you at the same time tomorrow night. The buck stops here with Padmaja.